What's up, guys, and welcome to Video Game Talks. So in this video series, I pretty much talk about video games and society, or video games in general, how they affect us, that kind of thing. And today's topic, I'm calling A Gamer's Defense. I'm going to be talking about the bad stigma or stereotypes that are tied to gamers. And a lot of times it's pretty unfair. A lot of people with these opinions or these stereotypes for gamers base their opinions on what's called hasty generalizations. And this is a fallacy. For those of you that don't know what a fallacy is, it's like a chink in logic. There's a lot of types of fallacies, and when you have a fallacy in an argument or in an opinion that you're in a belief that you have, and you're voicing your opinion, and you are basing it off of a hasty generalization. A hasty generalization is basing a broad conclusion on a small sample. So that's like saying all video gamers are fat, or all video gamers are lazy. I've heard this so many times, and I'm just like, it's not true. It's based off a small number. And people just make the assumption that all video gamers are like this. And to make that kind of statement, and to believe it, and actually voice it, and base your opinion off of these selected individuals, off of gamers, based on this knowledge, or based on this lack of knowledge, is wrong. It's wrong, it's ignorant, it's just immature. Before I go into some experiences that I've had with this kind of thing, I want to talk a little bit about what this all, like, examples of this. When people see me, just when they meet me, they would never guess that I am a gamer, or a hardcore gamer. And a lot of it has to do with these stereotypes. The biggest stereotype out there for gamers is it's a guy, he's most likely fat, he's lazy, has no friends, he's a nerd, he's a loner. So when people see me, they would never guess that I'm a hardcore gamer. Why? You guys could go ahead and make the assumption, but a lot of times it's not just because I'm a girl, but because I'm not fat, and I'm not a loner, and if I am, it's because I choose to be. And when they find out, they're all, what? She can't be a hardcore gamer. She probably just plays the Wii. She plays The Sims, or she plays freaking, what's it called? That Facebook game, what's it called? That freaking wannabe Harvest Moon game? Farmville? But I think the stereotypes are worse for males than they are for females. For females, this is going to be in a different topic for this series. I'm going to make one specifically for female gamers. So I'm not going to talk too much about that in this episode, because I want to save it for next time. But the stereotypes for female gamers are actually they're very superficial, but they're a little more positive than they are for males. For males, it's very negative, and for females, it's more attached onto, like, the attractive side. I don't like the stereotypes for female gamers, because they're also very generalized and very inaccurate, I think, for a real female gamer. But I won't go into much about that, because I want to talk about it in a different episode. So the stereotype, the negative stigma for gamers are obese, lazy, they're loners, nerds, dorks, geeks, violent, perverted, etc. In reality, it all comes down to the individual. It doesn't have anything to do with the video game. It doesn't have anything to do with them being a video gamer. It's the individual. You could get a person, and they might not even play a video game. They might not even be gamers. And they might have all of these. They might be a loner. They might be obese. They might be dorks. They might be nerds and all that. And they don't have to be a gamer. So they're not tied. These negative attributes, or these attributes, aren't directly tied to being a video gamer. I find it, for people to say, oh, all video gamers are obese, or all video gamers are lazy, all video gamers are loners and they're nerds. I find these individuals that come down with these assertions, that say these things, as being, I mean, I'm sorry, but I find it very stupid on their part, because it seriously is a very, very ignorant thing to say. Because there's so many people out there that are video gamers that are not, that are not obese, or that are not loners, or that are not nerds. You know, they just play it as a pastime. And like I said, you could be all of these things without being a gamer. You could be lazy. Playing a video game doesn't make you lazy. It's the person. The person. It's kind of like saying this. Say you have a bag of chips on the table, and someone that's obese or overweight walks in, and they eat the whole bag of chips. Do you blame the bag of chips? Do you say, why were you there? How dare you tempt the person? Or substitute the chips with a gun. If a person picks up the gun and kills someone, do you blame the gun? And like they say, guns don't kill people. People kill people. It's pretty much the same thing with video games. Video games make people fat. Video games make people violent. No, they don't. Some people may say, well, with games it's different because it makes them experience something that they think they might enjoy in real life. Video games are a form of entertainment. People feel happy, yes, when they're playing a video game. And some video games might have suggestive themes in them. I'm not saying that they don't, they do. But guess what? So does every other form of entertainment. Television, movies, the internet. There are worse things that you will come in contact on the internet than in a video game. Trust me, because the internet is not censored. Now, this is not thinking of SOPA and all that, but if it were censored, then this would be a different story. But it's not censored. You could find anything on the internet. Your freaking kid, if he's going crazy, trust me, most likely it's the internet. It's not the video game. I mean, think about it. Production companies for video games are really anal nowadays with what they put out in a video game. They won't even let you, like, just look at the huge scandal that they did with Mass Effect 1 for the love scene. Oh my god. They showed the side form, the profile of a naked alien. You can't show a lot of stuff on video games nowadays. And yeah, that you could show a lot of suggestive, like, violent stuff, but you could find more things on the internet way worse, trust me. And does anybody wonder what freaking Jimmy is watching on the internet? I mean, some parents might have some blocks and stuff like that, but some of them don't. They're more like, what are you playing, Jimmy? And he's like, I'm playing Farmville. And most importantly, if you feel like your kid is going to go on a killing rampage after playing Grand Theft Auto, don't buy him the game. It's that simple. He can't buy it because it's rated M for mature. He's not going to buy the game. You have to buy him, the parent. And guess what? When you buy him, it's your fault. You know what makes video games so appealing to people? It's being able to be part of another world, of a different world other than this one, and live a different experience. That's what makes video games so appealing, I think. It's a world where you can make a difference by what you do. What you do matters in the world, in this video game. You could do things in the video game that you wouldn't be able to do in the real world. And I'm not just talking about bad stuff, but I'm talking about good stuff too. A lot of the things that we would want to do in the real world, a lot of things like that you would want to help people or save people. Big things like that, big changing things, are kind of, they're very distant in this world. It's very hard to do. It's very hard to grasp. Let's say you want to make peace in the Middle East or something like that. You think someone could do that? You think some Joe Schmo could go and just make peace just like that? They can't. Unless you really, really, really have that affinity to do it, and it takes a lot of guts to do it too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there aren't people that do it. Of course, there's people that do it, but it's harder to really do it. To really think that you could do it. A lot of people say, I wouldn't be able to do it, or people say, what can I do? What difference can I make? And in video games, you could make that difference, and I think that's why that's why people find them so appealing, is because you could make a difference in that video game. And I'm talking about good stuff in this one, not just going out and killing people. That's different. It's a different type of appeal. But I was watching this video that someone sent me a while back, a link to. It was Jane McGonigal. It's called Gaming Can Make a Better World. I'll put the link in the description to the video. It was very interesting. I think it was like 20 minutes long, or 20 to 30 minutes long. It's not that long. And she makes a lot of really interesting points. She was talking about video gamers in a different light. She was talking about how gamers could really make a difference in the world because of the way that you're trained, because of the way that gamers constantly, sometimes every day, train themselves to react a certain way. For example, your reflexes are trained. A gamer it's been proven that a lot of gamers have much sharper reflexes because of, especially the hardcore gamers, because they constantly play video games. They have slightly better problem-solving skills. Gamers learn to strategize. Unless you do this in your job, people aren't constantly solving problems, or people aren't constantly having their reflexes tested. A gamer's senses are constantly alert while they're playing this video game. So it's constantly training those attributes. And unlike those stereotypes for gamers, the personality traits of a gamer while playing a game are dedicated, confident, empowered, sociable, emotive, inspired, imaginative, a problem solver. There's this intense concentration going on in the person. So look at these personality traits. From people saying that they're loners, that they're dorks, that they're ugly, that they're fat, that they're all these things, that they're lazy. When in reality, these things that I just said, dedicated, confident, empowered, that's what a gamer is while they're playing a video game. If you think about it. That's why we play. If we weren't feeling dedicated, if we weren't feeling empowered, if we weren't feeling that adrenaline rush that makes you feel like you could do anything, that makes you feel like you're doing something that matters, that makes you feel like I have to beat this. You know, this kind of feeling that that's not easy to get. That feeling where, say you die in the video game, you want to do it again. You're just like, oh hell no, and now I gotta do it. Like, I could totally beat this. You don't get that dedication from a lot of things. For you to be constantly experiencing that, that's a great thing to know what it feels like. And a lot of people don't know what that feels like. To feel confident in yourself, to feel empowered, even if it is a video game. It doesn't matter. Some people don't even experience those things. And those things are are a great attribute to have, to make a difference. Imagine if these traits were applied in the real world. This is what Jane McGonigal says. If these traits were applied in the real world, we could make the world a better place. She says that that we're capable of doing it because we do it every day for a game. She talks about this Greek historian Herodotus. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of him. If you haven't, doesn't matter. But he wrote, I believe he wrote the histories. I think that's from the top of my head, because I know who he is, and I think he's the one that wrote the histories. She talks about how games were invented 2,500 years ago, and this isn't like actual fact, but it's in one of Herodotus' books. Dice were made out of sheep's knuckles, and during this time there was a famine in Lydia. A famine, people didn't have enough to eat or anything like that, so people were starving. And there was this kingdom-wide policy that was made. It was one day everyone would eat. The next day they would play games and forgot about needing to eat. So 18 years they did this. One day they would eat. The next day they would play games so that they wouldn't think about eating. So that their mind would be so focused in playing that they wouldn't think about themselves being hungry. And she says that we use games to satisfy what we don't get in the real world, what we're missing, what we need from games. And I totally agree with that, because I do the same thing. I sometimes, when I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling like I can't do anything, I start playing a video game and it just cheers me up. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel like I don't know, like I could do something. And even if it's not real, the real world, and so many people say that it's not real. Well, duh, it's not freaking real. We're not stupid. Gamers know that the video game is a video game. It's not real. But when you're playing that game, it's a real experience. That's what's real. It's a real experience. It's not a real life. It's not a real scenario. But it's a real experience. What you're feeling in that moment is real. You're not pretending while you're playing. You're not pretending to be happy, or you're not pretending to be enjoying the game. You're not just like, oh my god, this is so much fun. No, you're actually enjoying the game. And if you're not, you turn it off.